The human race has existed for tens of thousands of years, and in that time we have told stories of fantastic civilizations existing before the dawn of history. Civilizations so advanced, they were powered by technology far beyond our own. But what if these stories weren't just stories? What if there really are lost worlds hidden beneath the sands of time? As the art of artificial intelligence advances, we are able to bring these ancient myths to life like never before. So join me on a journey through time to uncover the mysteries of AI lost worlds. Many believe that our world is all that has ever existed, that the Earth is a flat disk suspended in an infinite void, surrounded by towering walls that keep everything in place. But what if this is not true? What if there are other worlds out there beyond our own? Worlds that once teemed with life, but are now gone forever? Worlds that existed before the birth of our sun, swallowed up by its fiery embrace. In this video, we will use artificial intelligence to create breathtaking images of these forgotten realms and reveal their secrets to those who dare to seek them out. We will show you the breathtaking landscapes, the colossal ruins, and the glowing artifacts that remain from these vanished societies. And we will tell you the dramatic stories of how these worlds came to be and why they vanished without a trace. Are you ready to embark on this incredible adventure? Are you brave enough to face the mysteries of the AI lost worlds? Then let us begin. Step into the world of Athalia and discover a civilization that harnessed the power of the cosmos itself. Imagine a world where the sun, moon, and stars are not distant celestial bodies, but rather living beings that walk among the mortals. This is the world of Athalia, a realm where the sky is not the limit, but merely the beginning. The people of Athalia lived in harmony with the celestial beings, drawing power from them to fuel their advanced technology and shape their destiny. Their cities were marvels of engineering, floating above the ground on platforms of light and energy, connected by bridges of stardust. Their temples were sanctuaries of knowledge, where priests and priestesses communed with the stars to gain wisdom beyond mortal ken. But this world was not without its enemies. As the Atharians grew in power, they attracted the attention of the Voidborn, creatures of pure darkness that sought to consume the light of the cosmos. A great war ensued, a battle between the forces of light and darkness that shook the very foundations of existence. And when the dust settled, only a few scattered fragments of the Aetherian world remained, hidden away in the darkest corners of the universe, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to seek them out. Can you imagine a world like this? A world where the boundaries between science and magic are blurred and where the very fabric of reality is held together by the power of belief? If you want to learn more about this amazing world and its inhabitants, stay tuned for more updates. In the meantime, let your imagination run wild and explore the endless possibilities of Athalia. Who knows what wonders you might find? Now let us turn our attention to the enigmatic world of Avalon, a realm shrouded in mystery and magic. Here, the very laws of nature are bent to the will of the ancients, creating a world that is both familiar and strange. Imagine rolling hills that shimmer with an otherworldly glow, ancient forests that whisper secrets to those who listen closely, and rivers that flow upwards towards the sky. This is Avalon, a place where the impossible becomes possible and where the boundaries of the physical world are stretched to their limits. Here, the ancient Celts lived in harmony with the land, drawing upon its mystical powers to shape their destiny. They built their homes from living trees, their roofs thatched with moss, and their walls adorned with carvings of mythical creatures. Their villages were not merely dwellings, but sanctuaries of magic, where the veil between the physical and spiritual realms was thinnest. But as the centuries passed, Avalon's magic began to fade, its power waning as the connection between the ancients and the land grew weaker. Eventually, the last vestiges of magic vanished, leaving behind only the faintest of traces and a whisper of what once was. Can you feel the magic of Avalon calling to you? Do you sense the ancient power that lingers in the air? If you are drawn to this enchanting world, then know that you are not alone. For many have come to Avalon seeking its mystical embrace and have never returned. The world of Eldoria exists in a time before recorded history, a period known as the Dark Ages. During this time, much of Europe was in a state of chaos and upheaval, with kingdoms rising and falling and new technologies emerging. It was a time when superstition and magic were widespread, and the people were open to the idea that there were forces beyond their understanding at play in the world around them. In this world, the Celts were a powerful and influential people. They lived in small settlements scattered throughout the land, and each settlement was a hub of trade and culture. The Celts were skilled craftsmen and traders, and they were known for their beautiful jewelry and weapons made from precious metals and gemstones. They also had a deep connection to the natural world and were believed to possess knowledge of healing herbs and ancient magic. However, despite their knowledge and skills, the Celts were not immune to the chaos of the Dark Ages. As the centuries passed, their way of life began to change. New cultures and religions began to take hold, and the Celtic way of life was under threat. Many Celts were forced to flee their homes, leaving behind the only world they had ever known. This world, which came to be known as Eldoria, is a hidden realm that exists outside of time and space as we understand it. It is a place where the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world is at its thinnest, and where magic and myth are a part of everyday life. To truly understand this lost world, we must first look at the Celts themselves. The Celts were an ancient group of people who lived in Europe during the Iron Age. They were known for their skill in metalworking, their love of nature, and their belief in a world filled with magic and wonder. The Celts were also deeply connected to the land and saw the natural world as a source of power and wisdom. They believed that everything in nature was alive and had a spirit, and they respected and honored all forms of life. They believed that the world was full of spirits, both good and evil, and that it was important to maintain a balance between them. They used their knowledge of herbs and natural remedies to heal the sick and injured, and they also practiced divination and other forms of magic. However, the Celtic way of life was not easy. The Celts were often at war with the Romans and other invaders who sought to conquer their lands. They were also subject to the whims of nature, and their crops and livestock were often destroyed by floods, droughts, and other disasters. Despite these challenges, the Celts persevered, and their culture and traditions survived for centuries. The Celtic world was one of great beauty and wonder. The Celts lived in harmony with the natural world and believed that everything was interconnected. They celebrated the cycles of the seasons and the rhythms of nature, and they honored the gods and goddesses of the old ways. Their art and music were deeply rooted in the natural world, and they created beautiful works that celebrated the beauty of nature. One of the most important aspects of Celtic culture was their reverence for the other world. The other world was a place of peace and tranquility that existed beyond the physical world. It was a place where the veil between the worlds was at its thinnest, and where the dead could travel to after they died. The Celts believed that the other world was a place of great beauty and wonder, and they often celebrated it in their art and music. Sadly, the Celtic way of life was eventually destroyed by the forces of modernity. The Roman invasion of Britain, for example, brought with it new gods and new laws that the Celts were expected to follow. The Celtic people were also subject to the whims of the Roman emperors, and their lands were often taxed heavily to support the Roman army. Despite these challenges, the Celtic people held on to their traditions and beliefs for as long as they could. However, as time went on, their way of life became more and more threatened, and eventually the Celtic way of life was no more. The Celtic world may be gone, but its legacy lives on in the stories and traditions that have been passed down to us. The Celts were a peaceful and harmonious people who lived in balance with the natural world. They believed that the world was full of magic and wonder, and they celebrated the beauty of the natural world in their art and music. The Celtic otherworld was a place of peace and tranquility that existed beyond the physical world. The Celts believed that the dead could go to the otherworld after they died, and that it was a place of great beauty and wonder. While the Celtic world may be gone, its legacy lives on in the stories and traditions that have been passed down to us. The Celts were a peaceful and harmonious people who lived in balance with the natural world. They believed that the world was full of magic and wonder and celebrated the beauty of the natural world in their art and music. Are you fascinated by this hidden world? Would you like to learn more about the ancient Celts and their mysterious otherworld? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback is very important to us and helps us make better videos for you. So please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you for watching.